He said, the Spirit of the Lord shall what? Shall come up. Because you see, you can't walk with me until your faith level comes to my frequency. And now it's obvious you can't go this journey. So you have to do something sovereign to bring you to my own level. And he now began to explain to Mary how that the Spirit of the Lord will come upon her and the power of the highest will overshadow her. Notice at the tail end of the scripture that we read, she was brought into faith. She was snatched from doubt, and she concurred and said, behold, the handmaiden of the Lord, faith had come. Be it done to me according to. Now I want you to know those times when you pray and you are coming against several things, coming against some things, and then suddenly you just become bold. That is, you actually is reinforcement beyond your own capacity, beyond the level of your own faith. God has carried out an impartation so that you can press through that which you are contending with. It's the gift of faith. And if you are consistent in the place of prayer, it comes on you again and again. I remember when I was still in the university and God spoke to me. There's one church in Otopo we used to go to preach, a Methodist church. And God spoke to me that I should go and look for the elder that we normally stay in his house, that the man is in trouble. Go and help him. Let me see if people know that elder here. Okay. We used to preach in Methodist church, Sabongeri, in Otopo. And so God said, go and meet the elder, help him because he has a serious problem. I delayed for 3 days, and after 3 days I could no longer hold it. So I took a vehicle that brought me to Otopo. When I approached the elder's house, I met them in a strange state. And I walked up to the man and I said, God said you had a problem and he has sent me to help you. He said you came late. Then I began to blame myself because I delayed for 3 days before I came there. Hey, what happened? He said, this man just came from the village now. He said, my mother died. I said, all right. There's a room I normally stay when I come there. So I was ushered into that room for 1 hour. I came out and said, your mother didn't die. The man said, Walai, die. And he was more convincing than myself because the symptoms of stammering came that day. And the ability to explain my way was not given to me. So I now say, okay, since you didn't believe, let me go back. And he said, no, we are going to, all of us are going to the village now. I said, no, I have campus, I have school work to do. Because when I was in the room praying, it came to me that if the woman had died and if the death was conclusive, God won't send me here. If God kept prompting me and disturbing me for 3 days, I don't believe I'm late. And so if that's your problem, the woman didn't die. And I was speaking so bold. And the village was in Oupa, in Ogbadibo, local government area. And we began to advance there. For 2 hours we were still on the road. We now entered one bush path and began to navigate. When I became tired, the man said, we have reached. I wanted to abort mission. Guess what? When we appeared at the village, the whole village was gathered at the man's house. Then I came back into the flesh. I stepped down from faith. And now asked, I said, man, if this woman didn't die, why is the village here? The Lord help you when the gift of faith is imparted. You know, Mary said something. How can this be seen? And what? May God help you not to consider. Suspend your mind and flow in the current of that wave that has seized your spirit. The whole village was there. And I was wondering why the village gathered. If there was nothing to gather about. And when we were coming out, I was the last person. The man was in front. The guy that brought the news was in the middle. And I was already in the flesh. I couldn't pick God anymore. And I followed just like that. And we moved and entered the first room. Women were sitting on the ground. Everybody was sitting here. Then they spoke Idoma. Couldn't understand what. what they were saying. Then we moved into the second room. Some elders were there, old men. You know what happened? When we moved into the third room, the woman was sitting on the bed alive. She died, and that time I was praying, she came back to life. And the whole village had not seen the dead come back to life. That's why they gathered. The man now told them, this was the pastor that said the woman didn't die. That was the first time I preached outdoor message and saw life miracles. And another journey started for me. Another journey. About 5 years later, when a small child died in the bus where I was traveling, and I asked God, why will somebody die in the vehicle? And the Lord spoke to me, she shall live again. I rushed. That was what I needed. And she came back to life again. Came back to life. Now, you see, if you know how to respond to the gift of faith, and you know when God has activated you, when the Spirit of the Lord has overshadowed you, and you are gliding from that realm, you can change many things. You can change many things. Let me stop here for now. We'll still, the next time I come up, we'll talk about the gift, the fruit of the Spirit of faith, and we'll be going through it gradually, and then we'll move into experiencing God as light